Good morning. My name's Ed, and I'm here to let you know about my recent purchase of two hearing aids from Zip Hearing, and they're located out of San Diego, California. But how that came to be, pretty much I've had hearing loss in one ear for probably over 20 years, and that was diagnosed, but it wasn't bad enough where I had to get hearing aids. I was always a little bit against getting hearing aids only because of the way they looked and just another thing to take care of. So I was able to function no problem. Recently, with the passing of 20 years in time, I seem to end up having some hearing loss, where my wife would tell me, turn the TV down, it's really loud, or I'm speaking too loud. And I did start to notice that in recent conversations, I was having a hard time understanding certain words, which I never really experienced that before. But your brain kind of fills in what you can't hear, and I could pretty much so understand having conversations and sentences by filling in what I couldn't hear. So it really didn't become a problem, but I did start to notice that, and I decided to go and have a hearing test. So I did that, and it did come back that I had significant loss of hearing. And basically what that meant for me, and I'm sure everybody is in a little bit different place, it's certain frequencies that I have a hard time hearing. And the way it was explained to me by the doctor was that certain letters and certain words I probably couldn't hear because of the way the particular tone is. So with that said, he gave me a test to try a couple of hearing aids. And this was a hearing vendor from my insurance company, which I had called. And lo and behold, they recommended a certain brand and a certain particular model. But they also wanted to sell it was basically what he said, a maintenance plan, which was between $2,000 and $5,000 for a 3-year period. And he said, you could come in numerous times for adjustments if you needed, if they had a problem, you come in, and all that stuff was covered. So, I knew what I was getting into with the purchase of hearing aids and what the prices would be, but I didn't expect, that additional charge, which the insurance wouldn't cover any of that. So I decided to tell him, well, I'd think about it and I'd get back to him if I was interested. So lo and behold, I left that appointment, and I did get a copy of the hearing test. So I had that with me, and I called around. I looked at the, the box store that everybody talks about, that, they can get hearing aids cheap there. They were located about 45 minutes from me. I called them, and they said, well, I could get an appointment to be about 3 weeks. And they did have an office that was strictly for hearing aids, and if I needed adjustments and stuff, I could go to that office and they would cover all of that. So with that said, I didn't really want to wait 3 weeks. So I started doing a little research online, and I came up with one of the companies being Zip Hearing. And they did carry the particular model that was recommended by my first doctor. So I said, well, you know what? Let me give them a call and I'll see what they have to say. The difference is that if you deal with Zip Hearing, they don't cover your insurance, so any insurance claim is really your responsibility. So you have to buy the hearing aids outright. Where that initial doctor that was going to charge me for the additional policy, all that would have been covered except for the policy, any additional costs that the insurance wouldn't cover for the initial hearing aids. So with that said, I gave them a call, and the gentleman I spoke to who was very helpful was Derek. And he said, we have all different models, and they did have someone close by that, I could see, which is, I guess, a vendor that they deal with, which happened to be Best Hearing Solutions, which is located not far from me. I'm in Massachusetts, and it's basically the next town over. It'll be about a 10-minute ride. So convenience sake, it was very convenient. So I set up an appointment with Best Hearing, and I did meet with them. I brought my hearing test with me. And basically, the gentleman there that I dealt with, who was Paul, was excellent to deal with. Gave me a whole lot of information. I sat down probably over an hour with him explaining, the different models and brands and what each one provided and how to use them and what they came with. So with that said, he punched my hearing test into a computer model. And basically, that computer model basically spits out which particular hearing aid would be recommended and best for my particular hearing loss. So that ended up being the Signia Pure Charge&Go, the RIC 7 model. And they were about the same price as my initial doctor had quoted me, but it was not the same brand. But Paul did say that, you know, they Zip Hearing covers many different brands, and basically they're kind of a, I guess, not really a retail outlet, but they kind of wholesale them because of the amount of different brands they deal with and the amount of volume that they service. So their prices were very, very competitive to anything that I saw. So with that said, I did purchase two hearing aids. And basically, they came in about 7 days later, and I got an appointment with Best Hearing probably in 10 days from the date we had ordered them. So I made that appointment. He basically explained to me, and they basically fit them to your ear. I actually have them in right now, and looking from the front, you would never know I even have hearing aids in. Both my sister and brother-in-law have hearing aids, very similar models, and they're very happy with them. Actually, my brother-in-law has had them for about 5 years and has never had a problem with his. Initially, meeting with Paul, he adjusted the hearing aids to basically what's best fit for me. But here's a look at the hearing aid, and if you take a look, they have these little small baskets on it, and that's what goes into your hearing aid, your hearing canal. And initially, I had a bigger, I don't know if they call these, I think they call them like baskets. To me, it almost looks like a little parachute. But I had them change the basket to being a smaller model. I did find that, you know, the funny part about it, sometimes you have them in and you forget you even have them in your ears because you really can't feel them. And this model brought a whole lot of different functions that, you know, I never even thought about when I initially got the hearing aid. But here's how small it is, and they come in different colors. Initially, I was going to kind of get the tan one because I'm, you know, a Caucasian white person. And I was saying, you know, I think get the tan one. And he said, well, they try to match it to the color of your hair. And having the gray hair that I have, he suggested I get the gray one, which is what I did. And when you have them in and looking at it from the back, very easy to put in. Basically, you just put it over the top of your ear like this, and then just grab the basket, and that little basket fits right into your canal of your ear, and it provides the hearing you need, but you can't even really notice there's anything even in my ear. So I was very happy. It has a lot of different functions on it. One that I never knew about was Bluetooth. I can answer my phone. It goes directly to my hearing aids, or I have an app downloaded on the phone that I can shut the Bluetooth off, where the calls don't go to your hearing aid. So you would use your, you know, your iPhone or your Apple, Android, whatever you do have for a phone. But also part of that is that being Bluetooth, you can play your music right through to your hearing aids, which I never really thought about that. When I go to the gym, I have earphones that I always put on. Obviously, you're not supposed to use them if you're driving in a car or anything like that. But with these particular hearing aids, you have them in your ear. You can put your music on, but if somebody talks to you, you can still hear them. You can go to your phone and make adjustments and shut the Bluetooth off where you're not dealing with it through your hearing aid. Or if you had your music on, you can also go to your phone and just shut the music off and just deal with who's talking to you. If you're having a conversation, obviously if the phone rings, it would shut the radio off and it would go to basically the telephone call. But those are a couple of things that I didn't even think about, but they really are a nice option to have. So with that said, I've been very happy with this particular model that I have, which is the Signia Pure Charge&Go, and with Zip Hearing, and actually dealing with the insurance. I thought that I would have to put all the forms in. I had called my insurance. They had sent me the forms. But when I purchased them through Best Hearings, we got on the phone with them, and I was speaking to Derek, and I had to give him all my insurance information, my insurance card number, and they did all the paperwork for me. And subsequently, about 6 weeks later, I got my reimbursement from my insurance as to what they were covering. So I was very happy with that they actually did all that for me. And other than that, I'll show you a picture of the charger. It's very, very small. You can pretty much so see the size of it. It's pretty small. You take your hearing aid out and you just drop it in the charger. And when it's plugged in, there's two very bright green lights that come on in the front. I actually kind of colored over them because they're so bright at nighttime. I keep this in my bedroom that I don't like a lot of light when I'm sleeping. But it's a tiny charger. I take them off when I go to bed at night. I've never had to charge them in the middle of the day. And they've worked great for me. I've been very pleased. My hearing is much better. My conversations with people, I no longer have that problem where I can't hear certain words because the hearing aid basically, I guess, fills in what I'm not hearing. So other than that, I would certainly recommend dealing with Zip Hearing. They've been wonderful as far as ease to basically get what I needed. And also, if you're in Massachusetts, Best Hearing Solutions have been fantastic to deal with. But Zip Hearing has different, I guess they're like vendors that they deal with. So they sell all over across the country. So like I said, my experience has been great. And before I actually dealt with Zip Hearing, I did look at some of the other feedback and recommendations from customers, and everything I saw was positive, which is why I initially made that call. So with that said, I'd certainly recommend Zip Hearing and do a little research on different hearing aids. But I mean, for me, these were the perfect models to get, and they've worked fantastic. So with that said, I mean, just the purchase of the hearing aid, it came with a 3-year repair warranty and 3-year loss or damage warranty. Came with the charger and the service plan from the local provider. So basically, it's everything you need. And actually, after the first fitting, they wanted me to come back a week later, and they made adjustments to it. And then I come back 2 weeks later, and they basically take a look at it. They put it on a computer and see how you're using it and make any adjustment you might need. And also with your input and what you're listening to, they may need to make an adjustment. So they do all that, and all that was covered in my initial purchase. So once again, I'd highly recommend Zip Hearing, and have a great day. Thank you so much. Good luck.